Today we are going to continue to work on area with square inches. You saw this visual yesterday, and it was your job to use some tools to place these shapes from smallest to largest. Many of you decided to use these square tiles to cover up each shape. You counted how many tiles fit in a shape and then did the same to the next shape. Counted those tiles, counted how many tiles are in this shape, and then finally how many tiles were in that shape. We are going to do something similar today. I'd like you to take out this piece of grid paper, and I'd like you to cut out one of the grids. It will look like this. Go ahead and do that right now. Do you know what we call this? Well, go ahead and take out your ruler and measure each side. This side is 1 inch. That side is 1 inch. Over here is 1 inch, and finally the top is 1 inch. Do you know what this figure is called? It's called a square inch. It's called a square inch because it is a square. There's 4 equal sides and it is 4 right angles. But it's called a square inch because each side is 1 inch. We can also write this as inch to the 2nd power, or inch squared. You will see it abbreviated to this. These are all the same thing. They're just written differently. You are going to be using square inches to compare your shapes from yesterday. Let me show you how you're going to do that. Your first step is going to be to cut out your square inches on your grid paper. Let me show you a trick that I did to make the cutting a little bit easier. So I first just cut out a large section on my grid paper, and then I was left with a rectangular figure like this, and then I cut it down the middle, and now I'm going to stack it on top of each other evenly so my squares line up, and I'm going to cut right on the line. It is very important that we're accurate with our cuts. So don't rush this process, but this is a way to just make it a little bit more efficient. You're going to use these square units throughout our learning unit. So be sure to cut them carefully now so that you can use them and they're accurate for the whole unit. Okay, so now that I've cut some out, you can see that they're all nicely cut. They're right along the edges. I'm not seeing that any that are not looking like a square inch. Okay, so after you cut it out, your next step is going to be to cover your shapes with your square inches. What do you notice about how I'm covering up my figure here? Yeah, I'm being really careful to not have any gaps or any overlapping when I'm covering up this figure. I'm going to see how many square inches fit into each one of my shapes. Once I gather that, I'm going to take out this worksheet comparing shapes, and I'm only going to focus on my area in square inches column. We will worry about the area in square centimeters tomorrow. So for shape A, how many square inches fall into this shape? I'm going to write my number, and then I'm going to make sure to include my unit, inches squared, at the end of that. And then I'm going to, again, place them smallest to largest and compare them to what I got yesterday to see if I was accurate. Don't forget to include a little description down here about how you decided to order your shapes. Good luck comparing your shapes today using square inches.